Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Watcher stream intro win. Watcher needs no stream intro. Watcher does DJ work before the stream because Watcher kind of always wanted to be a DJ, yeah? And so I like doing my little countdowns, guys. I enjoy them. It gives you time to hang out together. It gives me time to make sure I've got all my shit together. I get to listen to some good tunes to get me in the mood. It's a good time. I like it. So I don't plan on doing a stream intro here. However, I will say that I have been asked by a fairly large YouTuber to make him a stream intro. And I plan on getting back to work on that. He asked me before I got sick. And then I literally only remembered that he asked me to do it today when people were talking about Punch Deck. By the way, guys, if you're not following me on Twitter, guys, the intro for the Future Conflict channel, the one that is just absolutely amazing, that music is done by a guy who goes by the name of Punch Deck. He's on Twitter, and I linked his account because Homeboy's got less than 300 followers, and that is criminal. I can't say that it's a dude for sure because I don't actually know. So, anyhow. All right, let me go through this. Zach Horton, welcome, buddy. It has been a minute. Justin, welcome. Good to see you. Anti-Commie. Stella, awesome to have you. Hey, Bob, good to see you here. Patrick, welcome. Natalie McClendon, it's been a little while. Planet767, welcome, buddy. Let's see there. Anti-Commie, at this point, you're paying for monetization. Your day 4 of Rotten Tooth that needs to get pulled. God damn, Anti-Commie, I fucking hate that. I'm sure you hopefully have taken the appropriate measures and went and got yourself some of that over-the-counter numbing stuff. That's what I generally am forced to use. Face the size of a grapefruit. Oh, it's real bad then. Yeah, you should probably talk about maybe getting on an antibiotic even, because it sounds like you might have an infection below the gum line maybe. Yeah, Punch Deck's got a YouTube where he does okay, but he's got a Twitter where he's just tiny. Although I have to say, Punch Deck doesn't have a huge YouTube. It's like 5,000 people. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, guys. Welcome back. It's been a little while since we've been in the old newsroom here. How have y'all been? How have y'all kept? Good to see each and every one of you. Hold on, I am getting pinged somewhere. Somewhere keeps making a popping sound, but I don't know what it is. If you guys are tagging me somewhere, I think it might be Gilded. I'm not seeing it. And I thought I muted all the other servers but ours so that I could just pay attention to ours. So, I don't know. But I'm getting kind of sick of that sound. That's a glitched pop if I've ever heard it. Yeah, man, it kind of sounds like it. Let's just get out of Gilded for a little while. Because it's been doing that every couple of minutes. Alright, guys. So we've got a lot of news to get into tonight, unfortunately. Not gonna lie to you, it's mostly not good. Like, when was the last time it was good, though, chat? Be honest with me. Also, how are my levels? How am I sounding, my darlings? I can only check how it looks on my levels, but I can't actually tell how that sounds. Music should be about half what I am. Sound good? More music, less music? Alright. Let me get to my thread. I've got a giant thread, just an endless thread of bullshit. God, it just keeps going and going and going and going. God, there's so much. Alright, guys. So, we haven't done this in a while. Let me pull up this good news story. First one. It's just kind of weird. Like, let's just talk about, like, the degradation of our institutions. Is it the American... The American History Association fired their president and issued this ridiculously long, bowing and scrapingly apologetic piece of just absolute bullshit propaganda. Apologizing for the damage caused by my fellow historians. Anyhow. Let's just go through this article because I think it's a good one. 20 years ago, in these pages, Lynn Hurst argued against presentism. She lamented historians' declining interest in topics prior to the 20th century, as well as our increased tendency to interpret the past through the lens of the present. Hunt warned that this rising presentism threatened to put us out of business as historians if history was little more than short-term identity politics defined by present concerns. Wouldn't students be better served by taking degrees in sociology, political science, or ethical studies instead? The discipline didn't heed Hunt's warning. From 2003 to 2013, the number of PhDs awarded to students working on topics post-1800 across all fields rose 18%. Meanwhile, those working on pre-1800 topics declined by 4%. Alright, thanks guys, much appreciated for the volume check, my darlings. Yeah, that's all of you. No writing equals not history. Ah, true. Basically, what he goes into is exactly what happened in the fields, and he's been fired. They've removed him as the president of the American History Association because of this. And then there was such a backlash against them removing him. They locked their whole page down, so only their own followers can interact with them, which is interesting. Hey, Greater Rex, welcome. Not a fan, but I think if you guys, if you're interested, I'll leave you a link here in the chat real quick. You guys can go check it out on your own. I saved you the web archive because I'm sure they're gonna get rid of it here pretty soon. James H. Sweet, no longer the president. All right, let's watch something from Rebel News here real quick.
Amish community where I'm Jeremy Lafredo for Rebel News in Birmingham, Pennsylvania. It's here, in this old Amish community where armed federal agents recently raided Miller's organic meat and dairy farm. The government is arguing that the farm isn't adhering to federal regulatory requirements concerning food, while the farm argues that this is just the latest attack on independent farmers giving their communities healthy food.
The Miller Organic Farm in Birmingham, Pennsylvania, a remote Amish village, has been around for almost 30 years. The farm supplies everything from grass-fed beef and cheese to raw milk and organic eggs, to dairy from grass-fed on-site water buffalo, and all types of produce to roughly 4,000 private food club members who pay top dollar for high-quality whole food. The private food club members cherish their ability
Nothing. He did nothing, Justin.
Farmer who isn't processing
he talked about the truth.
At United States Department of Agriculture facilities, which mandates food be prepared in ways that Miller believes make.
He talked about the truth there, Justin. He essentially said that their whole field has been subsumed by identity politics and that they're no longer interested in the truth. Like I said, go check out the article. It's pretty interesting.
Make it less nutritious. Miller contends that he's preparing food the way God intended. The U.S. government doesn't see it that way. They recently sent armed federal agents to the farm and demanded he cease operations. The government is also looking for more than $300,000.
Yeah, I was going to get into that.
A request so
Let's finish
steep
this.
It would put the farm out of business. This is an attack on Amish religious freedoms just 150 miles outside of Washington, D.C. It also speaks to the gross corruption at the USDA. As is available on the USDA site, the agency is funded mostly by the federal government, but it also receives hundreds of millions of dollars from the agricultural industry. Companies like Bayer, Syngenta, and Cargill stand to lose millions, even billions of dollars worth of market share if more American farmers opt for holistic farming practices like Miller's farm instead of chemical-heavy, technology-heavy, industry-friendly practices. Making it even more independent, Miller's farm doesn't use any gasoline or fertilizer, and therefore the war between Ukraine and Russia isn't affecting his bottom line. He's not dependent, and he's providing healthy food to his community.
Well, that's not true at all. Like, it is somewhat affecting his bottom line, I guarantee. Like, along the line, even seeds have got more expensive, so unless guy is completely and utterly preserving his own seeds every season, which, I mean, that's possible, but unlikely, just because it's so fucking expensive. And as long as he can find a seed supplier that's not using, like, I'm sure there's an Amish seed supplier. But it's not hurting him as bad as everyone else, I'll say that. He's definitely insulated himself.
He believes God intended, and the government is trying to intimidate and shut it down.
Rebel News will be here in Amish country at the end of the week when the farm explains to the community their next move in their fight against the federal government.
Yeah, so we're going to get into this here real quick, but essentially the federal government has gotten real strong army recently. I mean, they've been doing this a lot for a long time. They've been investigating all kinds of places that try and run their own farms to their own specifications. And I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of all this. This particularly doesn't look good for the leftists, I would assume. But unfortunately, the Amish, I don't know, man. The Amish just kind of get a raw deal. Nobody really claims them. Like, they are kind of right wing. Like, I hear that a lot of them broke for Trump, but like they're not for the Republican Party, which I agree with. Neither am I. Was in Lancaster County with the girlfriend 2 years ago. Got your first look at the community boxes that sell farm goods out in front of many of the farms. Interesting to see in this day. Yeah, man, I absolutely love those. I mean, I grew up around that, not in Amish country, but just in a farming community, so like I'm used to it. But yeah, I understand that the Amish have somewhat of an art to those farm boxes, man. Like, they are gorgeous. Never trust the damn dirty double Dutch house of orange. All right, so let's get into one more thing just here real quick. I don't really have this confirmed. So this is the same thing. It's a petition. You guys can sign if you want. I don't think it's going to matter much. I'm not really a big fan of petitions, but I don't mean to shine a light, like to speak bad on you if you do. If you feel like you want to participate in a petition, go ahead. But this is a petition for the U.S. government to stop persecuting Amos Miller, that holistic farmer we were just talking about. So that's the Rebel News article. I'm gonna start trying to provide more links to you guys. I should have done this in the show notes, but I didn't. Next time I will put it in the description. You live and you learn, right? Anyhow, so interesting stuff. I think we should move on. Next is another set of farmers, the double Dutch, that we shouldn't trust. Like, we're not really sure here, guys. We don't know. I've been told to be suspicious because it's in English, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you.
Met de vreedzaam protest, het is niet echt een protest.
I don't speak Dutch. I'll tell you, this is impressive if it's real, regardless. But somebody told me, be careful. You miss Altoona? Ah. Okay, chat. Breakfast tacos or regular farmers? Regular farmers every
Met een
time.
vreedzaam protest, het is niet echt een protest. Het is meer kenbaar maken van.
That's a damn work of art if it's real, but somebody told me it might be 3D modeled. You never know. You never know. Yeah, man, it's still going strong. They're still doing all kinds of stuff. They have continuously taken hay bales and just kind of dropped them in the middle of the freeway and sometimes set them on fire if they're feeling a little frisky. So, or regular tacos. I'm gonna say regular tacos. I've never in my fucking life heard of a breakfast taco. That was the oddest thing in the world when she said it. I still can't get over how stupid it was. Guys, I don't know what to do to help the farmers. Like, do you guys want to dwell on that for a moment? Because they're starting to talk about doing it here. Like, what do we do to help the farmers when it comes here so that we don't have to do this for years on end? We don't have to be the Dutch and just watch them starve people out. And I do not mean violence. I'm just saying, do we have strategies where we could combine helpful and effective protest to aid these farmers in such a way that we don't have violence involved in the protests as much as possible? And I'm wondering what we can learn from the truckers, because the truckers were fairly peaceful. I'm going to take that back. The truckers were entirely peaceful, especially now that we've looked into essentially all of the claims. Yeah, none of the things of violence with the truckers, so... Wait, what? Don't know about breakfast tacos, but I could get constipated and give me a breakfast Crunchwrap Supreme. rocket power gas buildup. Yeah, my friend, I hear you, Stoli. Hey, Hunter, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Matt Innes from Nebraska might be a good guest to talk about this. At least he would have connections. Maybe, man. You know who, like, look, guys, you want to know who I really want to hear about this? Look, and keep your eyes out, or maybe you guys know somebody like this. I want to hear, and I know that you're out there somewhere, I want to hear from somebody who was radicalized, who was in the middle of these leftist movements, who saw part of the way that some of them organize and some of the strategies that they talk about. And I'm not talking about the violent ones. I'm talking about the ones where they're just kind of there and you can't really do much about them because they're not really breaking any laws. You know what I mean? Hey, Angron, good to see you, buddy. I'd really like to talk to one of them. I know that essentially you can get most of what they know by reading Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, but I think it'd just be a fun conversation. One of the reformed ones that have essentially seen how shit's gone down and went, hey, nope, that's wrong. I don't want to be on that side anymore. Well, that's what we're talking about here, because I do think that the subject of farmers would create masses, or at least in certain areas. We'll have to see. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about another thing that has created masses of backlash, and that is DEI, CRT, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All of this Dumbo garbage baby talk that they use to mask what is essentially, not essentially, what is Marxist indoctrination. I have said multiple times that simply privatizing the schools is not going to fix things. And let's hear Corey DeAngelis, one of the biggest, talk to Christopher Rufo. And I don't know this person, unfortunately, but let's hear them talk about how that's going down in the private schools. Ready?
No matter what, and they just vehemently disagree with what's happening. No matter what, and they just vehemently disagree with what's happening there. But when it comes to private schools, do you think that, again, would or should the legislation apply to private schools since people voluntarily choose to send their kids to private schools?
Yeah, I mean, there's a different standard, right? And this is a nuanced legal issue, and I've talked to a lot of legal scholars who have kind of helped me understand the case law, understand how it works. But and this is kind of my own view as well, is that there are two different standards, right? You have a kind of right to free speech as an individual, but government agencies don't have the same right to free speech that I do as an individual.
Correct, Mundo.
In fact, it's up to the public to constrain the speech of government agencies.
Yes.
To constrain the curriculum. These are legitimate topics of public debate, and they should be held to a very strict standard. When the state has kind of ultimate power, right? And we should limit the state. We should always be seeking to kind of
look. Here's the problem,
really
guys. He's about to get into this, guys. The issue of vouchers is the following. If you get vouchers, the government gets to put, conditions on those vouchers. And one of the conditions that we've seen on state funding is that you will have DEI included in your curriculum. You're going to have a DEI office. You're going to have a DEI officer who's going to be the state's eyes and ears and is there as the political commissar.
Aggressively check on what the state is doing. And as you suggested, a private institution like a private school should have much more latitude. People are opting into it. There's a way to opt out of it very easily. And as a private institution, it has a kind of greater right to free speech than the state would, which is almost absurd. The left is now trying to say the state should have complete freedom of speech. It's like, where have you been for the last 250 years? What are you even talking about? So I think private schools should have much more latitude and flexibility. But there still is a limit, right? There still is the law. Private schools can't, violate the 1964 Civil Rights Act. No, nobody can. That's the law that applies to all institutions.
Well, except for
I think that private
doing
schools
it.
and some should have.
And we'll get into that, chat, because that's literally one of our topics tonight.
Greater flexibility, but there still is an absolute line that can't be crossed because it's a violation of law.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's near the end of the night. But they have been, chat. They have been over and over and over again. In fact, let's combine those because the next topic that I want to get into is quite heavy. So let me scroll way the hell down there. Let's talk about this just absolute fucking pile of garbage. This comes from Chalkboard Review, who you should follow Chalkboard Review if you're interested in what's going on in education in America and the efforts out there to reform it. You should definitely go follow Chalkboard at Chalkboard Rev, Chalkboard Review. Here, let me give you a link to this status here, chat. Grab that. Plop. We encourage anyone who's interested. So let's talk about Randy Whiteguard's statement here. So he goes, CTU Local 1 has a tremendous history and a future of possibilities, from strikes to elections to winning back collective bargaining and an elected school board. We've achieved a lot and are marching forward for what our kids and communities need. So we encourage anyone who's interested to Google Chicago's Teachers Union and see who Randy Weingarten is bragging about. Just poke around, see what you find. Here's a good example of when the Chicago Teachers Union uses COVID-19 to walk out on students. Oh, wasn't that great? Huh. Oh, just wonderful. What else? Oh, here we go. The Chicago Teachers Union now deleting tweets claiming that school reopening push was rooted in sexism and racism. We've got In Defense of Critical Race Theory on their own website. Just saying the quiet part out loud since February. Here's them being defunded after sharing race-based lessons. Hooray! Or at least we wish they were being defunded. No, a whistleblower has come forward, but no, they are not yet being defunded. And in fact, Randy Weingarten, the initial person who tweeted about this, Jesus Christ, to open reschool. Yeah, there we go. It's just, get your kids out of public schools. Get your kids out of public schools. Find a state that has good homeschooling laws. There's a couple. And just take your kids out of public schools, people. I'll tell you what's worked really well for us is like the unschooling approach, which is essentially just like we wait and listen to what the little watchers are interested in, and then we find ways to tie that into the subjects we need them to learn, like science and math and art, technology, English, sociology, geography. We just started on geology. But she is way ahead on biology, and particularly marine biology, because she's super interested about it. But we use that to teach her a lot of maths. It's just good stuff. Hey, Joe, good to see you, Tactical Wisdom. How you doing, man? If you would like to come in, you let me know, man. I am just doing a rundown of the news. So if you want to come and just lend your comments, that'd be great. Especially because, man, this next story is... It's kind of heavy. It's a little oh boy. Actually, the next couple stories would be good for you to comment on. Let me pull this up here real quick. If not, I completely understand if you just wanna chill out, man. You suppose you can link me on the twits? All right, man. Let me set up a room. I don't even have any. Like, I was just doing this here, but let me pull up a StreamYard. And don't even bother with the camera, man. Just audio in. I think that should make it even easier for you. Let me create a room. New broadcast. It's not going anywhere. It's record only, and it's watchers. All right, link sent to you, Mr. Joe. Oh, give me just a second, chat. I gotta get everything set up. Let me get that story off the screen so we can all get massive anxiety together. Let me start this virtual camera so Joe can see what I'm doing once he gets in here. Hey, we got 32 of you here right now. While I'm waiting for Joe to join me, let me just go ahead and talk to chat for a second and say, hey, thanks, guys. 32 is quite a bit for my channel, and I really appreciate it. You guys have a lot of entertainment options on Sunday nights. I appreciate you choosing Watcher and Friends. Go ahead and give us a like button. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and give us a follow. Hey, Joe, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well and good. How about yourself?
Oh, man. Good. Just, watching the national stress hormone levels creep up.
Right? It's not a good weekend in the world right now.
No,
So,
no, it is not. Oh, boy. All right, let me share my screen with you so that you can see the article we're going over. Boop.
I'm writing articles while we do this, so.
Ooh, nice. So here's an article from Keith Nemir and Laura Italiano over on Insider, which was then reshared through Yahoo News, that says, here's what to do and what happens next if you learn of violent extremist threats.
Dun dun dun.
Extremist threats of anti-government violence are way up since the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid. If you learn of a specific credible threat, how to best respond can vary, experts say. Anonymous threats are best reported to the FBI. Local law enforcement is best for handling threats by known individuals. Threats of anti-government violence have surged since the FBI's raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Not only extremist-friendly platforms like 4chan and Gab, really,
Gab.
really, but on sites like, oh yeah, Twitter and TikTok aren't extremist-friendly at all, to promote reporting of a threat, be it made anonymously online or by a loved one in real life, can save lives. But when and how should threats be reported and what's next? Be wary of shit posting. Experts agree that the first step is decide if what you are seeing rises to the level of an actual threat or if it's just vague, hate-filled rhetoric, known colloquially in extremist monitoring circles as shit posting.
Oh my God! Really?
Oh.
I suppose there's a reason why this made it all the way to the esteemed news source.
Of
That
Yahoo
is
News.
Yahoo.
Oh, man. They trot this stuff out in the worst places first, though, in my opinion. Like, stand by. Like, the reason I brought this up, guys, is to stand by for this to become a thing. This is one of the patterns. We've now reached the stage of they started training people last year about reporting people for money, and luckily some very clever people decided to use our still intact laws against them and use some sunshine laws to expose who be a snitching on who, and so that really did dissuade a lot of people, which means that when they come at it again, they're going to make it with a big scary media push. As much fear as they put into them for, veterans of the meme war rise up. It sounds sort of Orwellian, the whole go and narc out your family members, but the absolute best thing you can do is go to the local police station. Say the people who spent the last 3 years telling us that we shouldn't call the cops if someone is mugging someone, because you could have got them killed.
Right? Well, they would like for you to get killed.
Yeah. Anyhow, stand by for this to happen, guys. They're going to start the conditioning hard and heavy from all sides. And there are a lot of people. Look, there are a lot of people that don't even need to be told twice. There are a lot of people that would love to start doing this immediately just because that's part of who they are and it's who their character is. So, I have been a proponent for a long time. I don't know what Joe thinks about this, but I've been a proponent of the following. You can have acquaintances on any side you like. Choose your friends very carefully, and only your very close friends should know where you live, who you work for, how many kids you have, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do not associate with those who would be easily swayed by a campaign to turn you into the government for a pat on the back and a box of juice. And if that means family members, if you have, listen to me, I mean this very sincerely. If you have family members that made you think of when I said someone that would essentially turn you in for a fucking gold star, you move and you don't tell them where you moved to. I'm not exaggerating or kidding. That's what I did. Box of juice, Stella. Juice. Apple, grape, potentially cranberry. Dealer's choice. Wait. Thank you. Thanks, Mitch. I'm not going to share that, but I appreciate it. You too, Mr. Scott. Be careful out there, folks. That's what I'm saying. Tighten up your network. That's pretty much it. Joe, anything before we move on to the next topic?
Just that this kind of rhetoric and this kind of talk is escalating. There are literally dozens of stories like this weekend where they're claiming that the right is just coming after everyone.
Yep. Well, I mean, look, they never got their RWDS fantasy that they spent a whole 2 years essentially fear ejaculating about every 30 seconds.
So we're gonna pretend like it's real.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is the Hegelian black magic bullshit that this whole thing is based off of. They believe that if they truly believe something hard enough, and if they act like it's true, it will be true. Like, look, I'm not joking when I say, like, the basis of their ideology, I've said this multiple times, it boils down to that book, The Secret. It's just the original person who wrote it, Hegel, was a Marxist, would you know? Listen, says Stoli, the RWDS is coming for everyone. We have 12 years to reduce the carbon and stop climate change.
Well, this is true. Oh yes, we need some RWDS stickers. That's
actually,
for sure.
He's actually correct. I'm sorry, guys. I have not been doing a good job of updating or monitoring the web store. I've had a bunch of personal stuff going on, but I hope that will soon be alleviated. We will see, or made a little bit better. I am talking with my doctor about potentially taking some pills that'll make my brain function better, but we got to find some that are a little less risky than the spread he offered me, because the whole spread he offered me is it's got a concerning side effect that after some pretty serious thought, I don't know that I'm willing to gamble on. So yeah, we'll talk more about that at some point in the future, chat. So let's move on. So the story everybody wants us to talk about, Pakistan. Joe, what do you know?
What do I know about Imran Khan? I know that Imran Khan spent his entire time, just like Sharif did, playing both sides against the middle. He would take American money to hunt down certain Afghani Taliban dudes he didn't like, while also shielding the Pakistani Taliban from us. So somebody asked me, who is the good guy in Pakistan? It's not that simple. There aren't any. There are 15 different factions, all of which are varying degrees of bad, right? So it's only going to get worse right now. So.
Oh, I think that our friend NC Scout said it best in that thread when he said that the world needs to very seriously consider and start making plans for what a nuclear-armed Taliban looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't realize how entrenched in Pakistani politics the Pakistani Taliban is. They're pretty legit. A lot of times you'll see them abbreviated as JET to make them sound better as a political party there, but that's like Jalal et Talabani, and it's the Pakistani Taliban, and they're in literally everything there. That electricity outage they're reporting there, and that is actually, I believe, intentional to keep people from organizing online.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you'll also see that Facebook is down, or YouTube. I mean, YouTube is down.
Yep.
In Pakistan, and they took that down on purpose.
Yeah, wouldn't you know it? But a bunch of Imran Khan's younger supporters make YouTube videos. So interesting. Just
Yeah.
You thought they were an AQ offshoot, says
But-
Anti-Commie.
But the Taliban is an AQ offshoot, for the record. Anti-Commie, they're not mutually exclusive. The Taliban was shielding AQ, and the Pakistani Taliban, yes, is an offshoot, but they're all cousins. So, you know.
Yup.
I'm sure you know how that works in that part of the world.
Well, as long as they're not young cousins, right? Let's see.
And you know, let me address one more quick thing here. I'm not going to name, but a certain other internet personality disagreed with me rather publicly about some people crossing the U.S. border the other day, and those dudes were indeed from this region of the world, not South America or Mexico. I'm not going to name names and call anyone out, but those guys probably had some links to this, right?
Yeah,
So-
one would imagine.
And I'm telling you, the dude on the right was whiter than me, so he wasn't from anywhere south of here. So most likely Persian, of the Iranian type. So
Give me just a second. I gotta go. Can you pan for just a second? I've got a little watcher that's freaking out, and I gotta figure out what's going on.
sure. So as we're talking about these international groups over there, I want to talk just briefly for another second or two about the three guys that were caught coming across the border. They were very different from everyone else we've seen. Now, a few months ago, NC Scout and I ran a story talking about the guys coming across in what appeared to us to be Venezuelan military uniforms. These three were different even from that. They were all in ghillie suits, all wearing combat boots, and all wearing fatigues underneath their ghillie suits. That's not illegal immigration. Those are bad dudes getting snuck into the country. And it's very telling that the one on the right, even in the video, the border patrol never took his mask off. And I believe that's for optics, right? They didn't want you to take off that mask and see that he was probably either Chechen or Iranian. And it's certainly very interesting. And the question is, yeah, we caught those three dudes, right? Who didn't we catch? How many other guys have come across that stretch of desert in ghillie suits and fatigues that we haven't caught?
Well,
And what sort of plots are there? What sort of plots are there right now that they're willing to risk this by doing it?
Well-
I'm sorry, Watcher. What was that?
well, I was just gonna say, and is it a dry run?
Yeah, I mean, something's going on. And like PD mentions on here, meanwhile, a lot of people didn't notice, but over the weekend we've had some pretty intense fighting in Somalia that involves most likely our special forces on the ground directing airstrikes into Al-Shabaab, which is an ISIS/AQ stronghold, and just bad stuff going on all over. And who knows if they're going to retaliate against us for whatever we've done in Somalia. The Somalia thing has been real sketchy. I believe that somehow Al-Shabaab took a plane down on the way into the airport, and then there's been fighting ever since. So I don't know who was on that plane, but it was obviously someone important.
Your wife is currently having a big sad over not being able to tell her commie brother where your new house is. Brother, I literally went through that with my wife, but it was 2 years ago, and she was the one who was like, I think my brother might be one of the people we can't tell where we live. I was like, yeah.
Well, Hunter, that's straight up, dude. That's legit. That's the way to be.
like it's flat out no. No, it's sad, but just like what I would say is like work out a PO box or something a couple towns over and have mail sent there, and then offer if they gotta meet somewhere, meet in a neutral place. That's how we manage things. We
I
go
always
to
say, hey,
other
you know what,
families' events.
we'll meet at Aunt so and so's house or whatever.
Exactly.
That's the way it rolls.
It's look, guys. We're not the ones who made the rule. All right. So
Right.
let me pull this up just for. Oh, where did I stash it? For humor's sake. God damn it. Oh, that's right. I had to kill it because it was making popping sounds. Give me just a second, Joe. I had a great meme.
Oh yeah.
Here's a decent meme here, real quick. Guys, I know that on the show we use a lot of military terminology. I just want to make sure everybody's clear about some of these. So this is a magazine. See, like that's where you put the individual bullets into, and then that goes into the gun. And this is a clip. This holds the bullets before you put them into the magazine, right? And then you've got a suppressor, which makes things a little quieter, and then you've got the silencer, and yeah.
That's good.
Give me just a second though, because our fucking chat was killing it down in the meme hole, Joe. I don't know how often you're able to pop in there. I know it's been busy the last little while for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Let
No,
me,
I was just watching a Danish film because I had some sort of reason, but dude,
because you hate
what is going on with that dude's feet? That's terrible, bro.
Well, that's the first confirmed case of crockpox.
Well, he deserved it. Clearly, you get crockpox the same way you get monkeypox.
And this is it right here. I wanted to congratulate Brian Stelter on his new job, a little change in profession.
His new job.
Little,
Oh yeah. I haven't made it into the meme hole, man. I really needed to. This is good stuff.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What you were saying was more important. That was just funny.
Oh, nothing. I just said I was watching some random Danish film because that's literally the most important use of my time right now. But it was really good. And it was a birthday present, so I watched it. It's called Riders for Justice. And it's about a Danish Marine vet, gets called back from Afghanistan because his wife was killed in a train accident. It turns out it wasn't an accident, and so he goes on a little bit of a revenge thing. I'm telling you, it's pretty solid.
Dude, it looks good.
Oh, and for the record, Mr. Scott J87, I am Barnes 100% of the way.
Oh, hold on. What did I miss here?
If I was Barnes or Elias from from Platoon.
Yeah.
I am Barnes 100%.
Yeah, I'd pick Barnes.
Death? What do you know about death? Only one thing can kill Barnes. Barnes.
That looks damn good, brother. I'm gonna have to add that to my list. Is it it's subtitles, huh?
Well, you can get it. My DVD had it both ways.
Okay.
Dubbed is actually kind of funny because the voices don't necessarily match the people, but it's pretty good. And I like Mads Mikkelsen, the main guy. He's pretty solid in everything he's ever been in. So.
All right, let me get back to my thread. I was getting happy there for a second, chat. Let's dive back into this thread of unremitting bullshit. Here we go. So yeah, guys, the road leading towards this private residence has been sealed off. It looks like there's gonna be civil war in Pakistan, one way or the other. But my boys in Japan, finally growing a pair, have now considered deploying long-range missiles to counter China. As Japan said a couple years ago, and I was hoping they would stick by this because it is true. The sovereignty of Taiwan is of national consequence to the sovereignty of Japan. If Taiwan is not a sovereign nation, Japan's next. They're absolutely on the chopping block.
And this is actually quite interesting. So right now there's a Japanese delegation on Taiwan, which is historic. So at the time that the Chinese Civil War began, at the end of World War II, the Kuomintang, who are the Taiwanese now, were still at a state of war with Japan, and I don't believe that's ever ended because the Kuomintang were tied up fighting the Civil War, and they haven't really been friends. Now they've started to cool. The relations have started to cool a little bit in the last few years, but the fact that there's an actual Japanese delegation on the island right now tells you how serious the Asians are taking this conflict. Normally, they wouldn't allow Japanese to set foot on their island.
Hey, Marcus R., I'm interested in what you're talking about. You say the 3 subjects captured reminds you... Oh, I got you. I just got it. Reminds you of William Forstgen's Day of Wrath. Just saying. Brother.
Hey, listen, if y'all have never read every little thing that William Forstchen has written, you need to.
You should probably
that guy. His the second 1 second after series will open your eyes to the threat of an EMP and just how literally vulnerable we are and how bad it will get, how fast.
Oh, so representatives of Japan's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment about these couple thousand missiles that they're apparently ordering. Japan, which interprets its war-renouncing post-war constitution to mean it may use its military only for self-defense, has stepped up its military spending and is more assertive strategy in recent years. But it has refrained from deploying long-range missiles among its limits to weapons that can strike targets on foreign soil. Yeah, I think that constitutional... I think their constitution isn't long for this world. I think it's going to get an amendment here within probably the next few months. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a big deal.
So Angron says Taiwan is a very popular vacation spot for the Japanese. Yeah, they've grown pretty close recently. When I know that recently when China used the cutting off of Taiwanese pineapples after they had already been ordered but had not yet been paid for and were being packed and shipped. They used that as a way to try and blackmail and try and bankrupt some Taiwanese businesses. I know that Japanese business people stepped in and essentially treated them like they do their locally grown, super prized, holy shit, I can't believe you paid $1,000 for a piece of melon fruits, and started ordering them at exorbitantly high fees, like significantly higher than what they're what the people of Taiwan were used to being paid for them. I know that they did that specifically as a sign of support for the businesses and people of Taiwan. So there's been a lot of pretty interesting moves over the last couple of years. They can't even have bombers because they're considered offensive weapons. Again, though, the craft they are developing could essentially within probably a couple of days be converted to have some bomb drop pylons. Also, they're getting the F-35, which is a joint fighter bomber. Again, that part of their constitution cannot possibly be long for this world.
Well, in Japan had already altered their constitution a few years ago to allow overseas deployments because they actually have contingents in support of the anti-piracy mission.
That's right.
In the Gulf of Aden. So they are still out there. And PD, I don't know an exact number, but there's still an entire Marine Division, Marine Air Wing, and Force Service Support Group in Japan.
Oh, let's see. We've still got
significant number.
We've still got Camp Fuji. We've still got
Iwakuni,
and we've still got the big one in Okinawa. So,
no, Butler's in Korea.
Yeah. Anyhow, so let's move on to the next story. Did you see that Cringe Shaw has been flapping his gums again? Hold on, I'm going to have to reshare the screen with you, Joe, because you're not going to be able to hear it. Eye Patch McCain. Of course he went on CNN.
Pirate Danny.
Here you go. Uh-oh, hold on just a second. That just screwed with my levels. There we go.
Let's start with the fact that you're a former Navy SEAL. You have depended on the intelligence community.
Why is that so quiet? Let me see if I can fix this. I see no reason that should be so quiet, chat.
Real tangible ways to protect your life and those of your brothers. As someone who understands.
Hold on, I'm gonna find a different source for this. See if we can fix it. Yeah, that's just too quiet. Let's just go to YouTube here real quick. And then we'll find Crenshaw CNN. Oh. No. It's a whole like 10 minutes. Give me just a second, chat. I'm gonna find it on Twitter from a different source. Hopefully it won't be so unbelievably quiet. You still there, Joe?
Again.
Yep,
Oh,
I'm here.
I
Waiting
found...
to hear that thing, and just put myself on mute because I'm trying to write an article at the same time.
Okay. So here, I'm going to have to pull it up, looks like on this browser to make it sound at all decent. Here we go.
Let's start with the fact that you're a former Navy SEAL. You have depended on the intelligence community in very real, tangible ways to protect your life and those of your brothers. As someone who understands just how precious intelligence can be, I'm wondering if it bothers you that there was apparently classified information in an unsecured location at Mar-a-Lago. We know that one box was labeled TS.
Whoa. Is someone in my chat actually defending John McCain? Did the day actually come where we can just lay into John McCain and I can just go off on all the unbe-fucking believable ways that man was an utter traitor to absolutely everything he claimed to stand for? Not just that, but also multiple people that he served with. I could do it. I could do it.
No, I believe he's saying that McCain is bad too, but Crenshaw could be even worse.
Could be, but not yet.
So I'll point out that McCain is the only person to successfully bomb a United States aircraft carrier.
There you go. one of many things about John McCain. I'm not a fan.
Sensitive, compartmented information.
Yeah. Well, look, you know me, Jake, and I'm not one to withhold criticism and even make my own side mad. I want to get to the truth. But I will be honest with you here. It's hard to justify what the Department of Justice did here, in my opinion. And here's why. Here's what it really boils down to. It's not a question that it's bad to have classified material in a non-SCIF environment, right? So that's a non-secret compartmentalized infrastructure there. That's wrong. But there's ways to mitigate that. There's ways to resolve that issue. And I still haven't seen any evidence that that Trump was even asked to give these documents back.
I'm not going to lie, chat. When I first watched this video, this was not what I was expecting. And then I remembered, hey, we know for a fact that he's one of them. Why are they trotting him out to say this? Because they've already had him defending the FBI for a couple days now. In fact, he did it after this interview, even. He's about to say what they did is indefensible, and then later today came to their defense. So,
Been cooperating with them on these issues for a while now, for months. And so why take it to this extreme extent? And I think that's why you're seeing so much backlash from Republicans. You're seeing everyone coalesce. It doesn't matter what side of the issue they're on with Trump. You've seen a lot coalesce around this one because it does seem unjust. And there does seem to be a long history of loss of credibility at the Department of Justice at the hands of Democrats. And I think people are rightfully frustrated about that.
I think first of all, I think there are a lot of Hillary.
chat, you've got an interest. I'll finish this clip, but then, we won't do it now, but I'll tell you what, why don't we plan for one day in the not super distant future. We'll put together all of our materials so we've got it all sitting in a row, and we'll go through why we're happy John McCain's dead stream. That'll be fun.
Hillary Clinton folks who would argue that, they don't think that they were treated well by the FBI.
Absolutely. So it just gets to the point, though.
So, but
why is he talking like he's a news anchor? Because that's how he's trained to talk. But who is training him, you may ask? Well, that's the secret, isn't it, my friends? That's the secret. All right, let's talk about another one that we might actually get into. Probably going to get into this on Monday, but I wanted to get into this real quick. Just because we might actually see some stuff before Monday rolls around. Zelensky is now warning of a nastier phase of war as Russia says Dugan car bombing was a contract killing, which they're almost definitely correct. Like I very much like, as much as I don't have any faith in the intelligence agencies, I also don't think that they would burn an asset in an area quite that thoroughly for this.
Now, I've seen a lot of speculation on this. The only thing that makes sense is Ukraine with our targeting help. Although, I will point out, as I did earlier, that Dugan recently penned a book titled The Great Awakening versus the Great Reset. And most of the Great Reset folks don't like when you expose them for what they are.
Yeah, they get really mad and do stuff like sick governments on you.
Yeah.
Why does he yell at people?
It's interesting. So somebody intimated that maybe he killed his own daughter for the attention, and I'm like, no, that's kind of ridiculous. And I saw a video of him on the scene. That man had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's I don't look. I that might be projection from some people who really think they're a lot better actors than they are.
Right?
Jesus Christ, guys. Look, what I'm saying is that some of the people on our side would absolutely kill their own kids. They've proven it. Not our side. I just mean our side of the pond, our side of the Atlantic. Some of the nasty people over here would absolutely kill their kids to gain power, and I think that is pure projection when they're talking about that happening over there. People have said it's not without precedent. It is without precedent in the country that is Russia. If we are combining it with the Soviet Union, which it is not, as they've proven pretty concretely in this war, I don't know what to tell you guys. We need certain French speeches by certain 20C Roosevelt. Joe, that's what we need. Yeah, you're not wrong. Let me see. There's some funny stuff going on in the chat that I didn't catch. Let me, because I'm watching this. Want to make... What? What? I am very confused. You're almost certain US T1s were involved. Could be. Could be. This has us all over it,
US
guys.
what? Oh, T1s?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, you're talking about the Leadership Institute. That's exactly who I was. That's exactly who I was pointing at in an off-center way there. Lone Wolf Ranger. Thank you. I'm not going to go into these videos because they're terrible. Go ahead.
Actually, on Anti-Commies' point, I don't think they were U.S. Tier 1s. My first prediction still stands. I made it privately in our CFC group chat, is that the SAS, the British SAS, was the most likely folks to have had a hand in it, more than our SEALs.
Well, and just apropos of nothing, it's not like the UK the same day was making screams about Article 5 and that we should all, as NATO, enter the war in Ukraine or anything.
right?
We'll go into more about who Dugan is and about why he's important. If you don't understand that, probably tomorrow. I suspect that this is going to be our number one topic tomorrow. But I just want to get my feet wet a little bit about Zelensky stating that basically playing the, well, they think it's us, it's not us, but they think it's us, and it's things are about to get nasty over here. Color me what am I trying to say here? I don't buy it, Zelensky. You guys, I'm pretty sure you guys did it with our help. Let's talk about something funny here real quick. So Berkeley started a woke people of color student house, and it is now being reported by insiders that it is
this is garbage. Yeah,
absolute nest of vipers. After 2 years, it has utterly broke down in every way you can imagine. This is the one that had just banned white people, by the way. The one that people talked about on Twitter for, they banned white people from coming to the place. Believe me, you didn't want to go there. Let's see. UC Berkeley student, I'm not gonna say that, said the people of color themed house has a long past of internal discrimination and neglect from its students. Oh, really? In a 2020 piece intended to rebrand the house, Batar said the house's ideal of racial intersectionality have caused trouble instead of creating harmony. That's because that's what they're explicitly meant to do. The POC house recently came under fire after a list of its house rules explicitly prohibiting white guests from being in common spaces was posted to Reddit. UC Berkeley has said that the problematic house and its rules are not the school's business, as the house is privately owned off-campus residence. Just utter garbage behavior, folks. But golly, you love to see it. It couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people. They've taken down the YouTube videos. I was gonna show these, damn it, chat. These were all really fucking woke house tours that I thought would have been funny to go over. Damn it. Why could
I think the best part is that you literally cannot fight racism by being more racist than the people you claim are racist. I mean, it's just silly. It's just silly,
brother. It's all that Immermex Candy shit. The only way to fix past racism is present racism. So I'm gonna have to log in to look at this next one. Give me just a second, chat. We're gonna have to pull it up on the other browser, which is fine because it's a video of the Texas State Fair, where we're gonna show you the normies are on edge, even if they're not sure what's going down. People are quite on edge these days. So noises that people thought were gunfire, they were not, erupted at the Kentucky State Fair midway Saturday night, sending people running from the area, resulting in several arrests.
Let's go. All right. Where's everybody at? Oh shit! Let's go.
Oh yeah, sorry, hold on. I'm just catching some of what's going on in the chat. If I gave you the impression that the Leadership Institute was tied to the World Economic Forum, I didn't mean to. No. I'm just talking about there are multiple organizations that are put together on both sides that train people to talk like news reporters. They train them to talk the way that the leftists will most listen to. And with that said, back into the chaos.
Where's everybody at?
Hold up. Kentucky's got an indoor state fair?
Michigan does too.
Huh. Where do y'all have your rodeo?
We don't have one.
But how do you have a state fair without a rodeo? What do you guys do?
People just kind of wander around.
Huh. Weird. Like almost every western state that I've been to, even California had a rodeo at their state fair. Interesting.
Where they at? No, you're not. Where they at? You're not. Where they at? You're not. You're okay. You're not. You're okay.
So it ended up being it was nothing. People just getting really stressed. Let's talk about another thing about the normies. They have been driven off of Facebook. And what has grown in its place? TikTok. Kind of some concerning numbers, guys. We wouldn't sell companies of national interest to the Soviets during the Cold War, but for some reason we're willing to hand over a substantial percentage of our communications infrastructure to the Chinese. Really makes you wonder about the people we've got in office, eh? Now look, guys, let me cover another story about Twitter that I haven't been able to talk about because I haven't been on the air. TikTok. TikTok just got caught having a keylogger in their internal web browser, guys, along with a bunch of other bad software packets. The military has already said that the data that they are gathering off of you, look, if your kid uses TikTok knows everything about you that they need to know to be able to compromise you if you have a security clearance. Like, don't use TikTok for anything ever. Joe?
Yeah, right. TikTok is just dumb. It's meant to waste your time and gather your info. And the thing about a lot of these apps that people don't realize, you have to read the actual terms and conditions because they're background all of the time, and they're getting your keylogs from literally everything you do, not just TikTok. And a lot of people think, I don't care if they log my keystrokes on TikTok. It's not on TikTok. It's on literally everything.
Every password you've ever had, unless you are smart and use a password manager. That's one of the reasons that I use a password manager, is that you're never actually entering a password ever. It is entering it, and that doesn't generate a keystroke. But yeah, it's no bueno, chat. It's no bueno. TikTok's terms are insane, yes, but to be honest, they're no more insane than a lot of the apps that you guys probably use on a daily basis. Some of those games that you guys play for free, they're free because they harvest every bit of data from every other app on your phone.
Right. Hey, I want to answer Lone Wolf's question here. Could Joe elaborate on why he thinks it was the UK that did Dugan? The UK still is a little salty about the assassination of the former Russian agent on UK territory. So they've been looking for a way, to clandestinely get a little payback. And the UK is all but involved in this fight on the ground. I mean, they're running boot camps all over the UK and advanced infantry schools all over the UK. For Ukraine, it's just the next logical progression. And in all honesty, I'm not as optimistic as one of my colleagues, the same one who said I was wrong about the dudes in the desert. I'm not as optimistic as one of my colleagues saying the SBU pulled this off. If the SBU pulled it off, it was with UK support. There's literally the SBU hasn't pulled off anything outside of their borders without support. So.
Or ours, but we've got less motivation, right? And that's the way you track somebody down.
And the UK has more people on the ground there, right? It's literally their neighborhood. So
now I'm probably going to get a bit of a strike for this, but I did actually find the Michigan State rodeo event.
Oh boy, Lord knows what you're about to pull up.
You hide.
Yeah, see?
You see a big stranger.
Jump on them like it's a rodeo.
See?
You've got to stay off
told
ground
you.
for as long as possible.
This was the
Oh,
greatest series that was
Legends.
ever on TV. I loved this so much. I'm gonna turn it down a bit because it's gonna be that whistling that's gonna get me nailed. Don't actually do this, chat. Don't do this. He does this to.
Don't actually try that.
He does this to a bunch of Europeans. Like, that's a little safer. My favorite is he plays a game called My Ball, in which he runs up to various sporting events that are happening in public, waits till no one's really got the ball, and then runs in and grabs it. Oh, he's a terrible person, and Lord, do I love watching him be a terrible person. Let's see. Speaking of the UK, Joe, let's talk about RAF recruitment and the head of RAF recruitment being fired because he refused to take an unlawful order which told him to prioritize women and people of color over white men and essentially just do an entire hiring freeze on all white male pilots.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely ludicrous. You can never put a diversity quota on the flying of high performance aircraft. It needs to be performance based. They got called out on this almost immediately, as they should have been, and they claim they're putting an end to it, but this means they're sweeping it under the rug. They're still going to do it.
Well, and they still fired her, and that was the other thing I wanted to point out. The person who refused to do this was a woman.
Isn't it beautiful?
Speaking of terrible people, am I familiar with Frank Hassel? I am not.
Frank who?
Frank.
No, I don't know who Frank Hassel
Yeah,
is.
Frank Hassel. Let me do a quick googly. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen, but apparently there's he's a YouTuber, looks like. Got a pretty big following. He kind of... No, I'm not really sure who this is. Sorry, chat. No. Dropped your dogs. Okay, hold on. Search Frank Castle, your dogs. Hassel.
Castle. Frank Castle's a different dude.
Yeah. Frank Hassel, your dogs. Is this the guy who bothered Boogie until he pulled a gun on him? I'm not really interested in that. That was kind of a bad scene. Ah, that is who it is. Alright. Yeah, that's, Look, man, the thing I really liked about Neg is that he was never going after anybody personally. It was always random people just because they were on the street, right? He would never follow someone home and do harassment like that. It was always like, oh, you're waiting at a bus stop. Sorry. Now it's your turn. Frank is more of a targeted harassment kind of person, which, I don't know, man. I draw the line there. When it becomes personal, it stops being funny to me. There's a lot of other stuff. Interesting. Okay, we'll have to see about that. Neg was kind of the originator of that. That video that I showed you was made probably around 2003 time period. It's old. Crazy to think that something in 2003 was old, but there you go. Basically, the order was unlawful. They don't care. They're still letting her go, which means they're just going to do it under somebody else who's going to be brought in with the explicit nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You're just going to do this while shutting up, right? Okay, good. Because otherwise, we wouldn't have known about it. If this officer hadn't come out and told everybody what was happening, we'd have never known that this was happening. So, also, this order came down like right as Ukraine was being invaded. So, it's kind of an interesting little subplot there. Started around Sam Hyde. Well, that makes sense. He does seem like a fairly Sam Hyde-ish type character. Sam's got a lot of control, though. Or at least it seems to me that Sam has developed quite a bit of control. He can like, when he trolled iDubbbz during that, like, that 2-hour fucking documentary that iDubbbz did where he was trying to get gotchas. And the guy just seemed like 6 steps ahead of iDubbbz the entire time. That was, it was pretty clever. I'll hand it to him. That was clever. Have you guys heard that multiple states... Actually, let's just watch this video here real quick. It's only a minute.
Well, the melding of corporate power...
Oh, hold on. We're going to have to switch it over, unfortunately, to the other browser, because the other browser shows it an appropriate sound, but this one does not.
Well, the melding of corporate power and government power has traditionally been what fascism has been defined as. And I think the problem with ESG is they're trying to do a lot through the economy, which I disagree with, but what they cannot get through the ballot box. And so in some respects, it's government subcontracting out the ruling class ideology to titans of industry. And so you have these massive corporations essentially exercising public power. I mean, Glenn, if you have the top Wall Street banks that collude to say we're not going to finance a gun manufacturer, we're not going to finance a company involved in border security, they have enough power where they're effectively altering the policy of the country. And that is not a healthy thing. That is changing policy outside
Whoa, random. I know a little bit more about it than for that to slide. Boogie did not tell him to come to his house. Boogie only told him to come to his house if you took what was very obviously a do not cut, like, if you took a aggressively sarcastic comment about come to my house and you can see my guns, essentially saying I'm gonna kill you if you come here, to mean come to my house. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was not about that. Like, he was pretty clearly telling him to stay the fuck away. He chose to do the whole I will literally interpret your words rather than what the obvious emotional context is around the words. That's not gonna fly with me, man. That's the same kind of semantic games the lefties play, and I don't go there, brother.
The normal constitutional process. And so I think it's healthier for a society to have businesses focusing on doing their core missions, but not leveraging their economic power to try to advance a partisan political agenda.
And so we've got 2 separate states that are fighting this, essentially. We've got Florida that's fighting it, and now we've got West Virginia that's also said that they're not going to, that all retirement funds in the state have to divest from ESG, and cannot by law abide by ESG. Why is this not literally every red state? Ask yourself that question. Why are you not hounding your state attorney general to do this, like to start hounding at corporations who are doing ESG, because they are already breaking the law. They are already breaking the law. ESG is already against fiduciary responsibility contractual obligations, right? Why are you not hounding your state legislatures to pass laws requiring divestment from ESG funds?
And you know what? He's not wrong. It's governments. I mean, it's businesses seizing governmental power, right? Demanding that you change your behavior in order to do business with them. And I get it. A lot of people are going to say, well, they're a business. They can do business with whoever they want. But that's just not ever been true in America, because we've had all kinds of regulations that say you can't base your business decisions on someone's skin color, the neighborhood they live in, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, Political activity should be exactly the same thing. Um, I get it; they're a private company, but they're operating in the public sphere, and the same laws that protect us from discrimination racially uh, should protect us from discrimination politically.
Absolutely agreed. Um, Look, guys, if we've already we've had laws before where they've said that phone companies, for instance, common carriers, can't discriminate against people based on their politics or anything of their religion, anything else. They have to be a common carrier, right? How are banking institutions that are literally the basis for modern economic activity any different in any kind of context? They're not. They should not be allowed to discriminate in this manner. Period. So, I'm not a fan, folks. Not a fan. Let me pull up the next one in this long list of depressingness. So Finland's president and how all the elite are coming out after that very obviously MDMA fueled dance party she was having up in the great frozen north. Gee, I wonder why all of the media types are coming out to defend her, and why nobody is calling out this obvious poor, this obvious ridiculous lack of judgment on the part of a world leader. It's baffling, folks. It's utterly baffling. I wonder if she might have some kind of connections or something. Huh. Anyhow. Joe?
Seriously. They are putting out some ridiculous things, and people are just nodding their heads and going, okay, yeah, this sounds legit. Dude, it's literally James Bond villain level nonsense going on.
How does this keep happening? I can't figure it out. So, Joe, I don't know if you missed this, but this is a ridiculous pile of corruption I thought you'd appreciate here. The CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, her husband received $5 million in Health and Human Services grants. Gee.
For what? Stuff that she had authority over?
Yeah.
Nonsense. Nonsense. We're in a serious country.
Oh. So, anyhow, it's, Lauren Walensky became the scientific co-founder and member of the board of directors of the Lysynthia Therapeutics Corporation, an early-stage biotechnology company working on an innovative platform for developing next-generation antimicrobials. And just 4 years later, wouldn't you know it, his firm received a $16.9 million HHS grant to develop antibiotic peptides with broad activity against multi-drug resistant bacteria. Only $5.3 million of that money was initially distributed, and the remaining $11.6 million is scheduled to be distributed upon the achievement of certain developmental milestones. I'm sure this will all be tracked with the greatest diligence, chat. I am positive that he definitely didn't... There was no horse trading going on at all when positions were being assigned in the Biden administration.
We have investigated ourselves and found that we have done nothing wrong.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Right there. It's a wonderful life. And that brings us to the end of the news stream, chat. I'm sure there's other stuff you'd like us to get to. But honestly, I'm just going to go and talk to the chat for a bit, and then I think we're done here. There's pretty terrible shit going down. Again, we usually just dig slightly into these stories. If there's something really big, I'll dig way deep down into there. People have asked for an update on the situation that happened in Mexico. Guys, I think that they did surge enough army units into that area that they were able to secure it and no deaths happened, because I heard not a peep more about that music festival in Cartel Horrorland. So, Watcher, just scroll through Joe's Twitter. Yeah, you're not wrong. Joe's got a good feed, guys, if you're not following him. And he's got a great book out right now that if you haven't bought already, What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? I'll point out that
It says
Lieutenant Richard Sharp, when he was appointed, was given a copy of my book, and he then became Lieutenant Colonel eventually, Richard Sharp. So the book is solid.
Actually, chat just says, so there's this flag, and it's in this box, and that's the side of this other box. Oh, wasn't that great, chat? Has anybody started the second one? Because the second one actually has probably one of my favorite quotes from the whole series in it. It's a really good one, but Patrick Harper says right there in the beginning, it's no sin to be born in the dirt, boys, but it's a terrible sin to want to stay there. And it's just fantastic. Rick, what's the matter, Rick? PPP was big a scam as Ukraine. You stopped waiting? Stopped waiting for what? Tried snuff a few times. Brother, I tried snuff exactly once. And very quickly realized that was not the form of nicotine for me. Whew. Whew. Joe, did any of your NCOs ever have the old snuff box?
Almost all of them, and it was ridiculous. Snuff or chew. I mean, just both. And the snuff thing is just, to me, is disgusting. One of the Hispanic kids just had it the most, and I was like, dude, you know you're Hispanic, right? Not white. Because that's kind of a white trashy thing, and he did it, and I was just like, wow, bro. Crazy.
I had a corporal with a custom carved snuff box that his mom sent him for Christmas. That's how fucking white trash.
He was from Kentucky, wasn't he?
He was!
I can tell you.
He was!
Nailed it.
Oh, man.
So PD asked about the black flag thing. So
for
those of you
we can talk about that.
For those of you who saw it, and many people asked me the question, what is the black flag? So I literally have one right here behind me. Oh yeah, I don't have my camera on.
Were you
here,
not
on the camera
were you not into early 2000s punk, bro? Okay, hold on. I've got to pull the camera up on the show.
Here we go. So this is the black flag, right?
Give me a moment.
You want to make me big and big in me for a second?
They can't see anything. Hold on. I've got to switch it so they can see your display. PC capture. There we go. And then let me get rid of this guy.
Right, so here's the big black flag. So, all right, that's good enough. What happened was somebody said, "Hey, they're out doing neighborhood canvassing, and they're like, we were told not to go to the houses with the black flags because the black flag means that they'll just shoot you if you go there." And this lady acts as though that's like a real thing, right? That there are people flying this black American flag, and if you knock on their door, they're just shooting you right through the door. You would think this would be on the news if it were actually happening, but it's not. So what the black flag means, it literally doesn't mean that at all. What it means is an American unit that's in a defensive posture hoists the black flag when they say, we're not going to surrender, and we're also not going to accept any surrenders. We're going to give no quarter to anyone who attempts to surrender. It is a very rare thing, but it has happened in history, and it wasn't just Americans. It's happened with many, and it's where the pirate black flag thing came up, right? But for them to believe that the black flag somehow means that they're just going to shoot people who show up on their front door, or they're going to shoot their neighbors for their political beliefs, is completely untrue. It's not even an aggressive thing; it's a defensive thing, right? Basically, it's like saying, "Hey, leave me alone. I'm going to leave you alone." And that's really what it's being used in a modern context.
Well, and it's
so it's ridiculous to say that.
It's also been co-opted by modern anarchist movements. I mean, anybody who's asking what Black Flag is obviously wasn't into punk in the early 2000s era, because Black Flag is a kind of not that great punk band.
The truth of the matter is that it signified that you shouldn't approach that unit with a white flag, because they weren't going to honor your white flag. That's what it really truly means. And it's just been co-opted and everyone says these things, but the biggest problem is that people honestly believe that there are people literally shooting each other over this flag, and it's just not true. So it's absolutely crazy that people think it, but it's there. So the other question was Mike Shelby's unpopular opinion. You know what? Mike Shelby's opinion on this might be unpopular, but it's spot on. He said that the American Republic ended in 2001 after 225 years. And he's 100% right. He said that we're living in the American Empire now because when we passed the Patriot Act, we literally set aside our Constitution. He's not wrong. He's 100% right on that. And somebody sent it to me in a private chat and was like, hey, do you see this? And I'm like, oh, no, you know what? I got to tell you, on this, I agree with him 100%. The Patriot Act was draconian and evil and never should have been passed. And it's gotten to the point where now we just set it aside whenever we want. For example, we now arrest lawyers for refusing to divulge privileged information. How many lawyers of Donald Trump's have been arrested for refusing to cooperate with investigators? It is illegal to make a reporter investigate. They don't have to.
Correct.
It's attorney-client privilege. How many people are now being told in jury instructions that if somebody pleads the fifth, you have to count that as possible guilt? That's completely untrue, and is anathema to our entire legal system. You can't make that assumption just because someone refuses to testify. I'm not required to help the hangman tie the knot.
Hey, it should be better now, chat. You should be, we're about 5 seconds behind, but you should be better now. So, Bob Johnson asked about late Empire stuff. Go ahead, Joe.
So, we are doing Empire stuff. We're just not doing it the way you think. We're doing like the Galactic Empire stuff, where we're oppressing our citizens and stifling dissent. That's the Empire stuff. We've got 600 people sitting in the DC jail whose entire rights have been set aside. They didn't even go to the step of setting aside habeas corpus. They just did it. So that's Empire stuff. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, look, guys. I've said it before and I say it again. I said it in the middle of the 2020 riots. The nation you knew, the nation you thought you grew up in, it's dead. The best we can do moving forward is to rebuild something in its image. Looking at the places where it failed and maybe strengthening those, right? And I think anything else is just a delusion. And I'm not really about participating in those kind of delusions. I'll laugh and giggle and have a good time, folks. I really will, and I'll laugh at this this late Empire bullshit that we're starting to pull off now. But I'll tell you. This isn't America anymore. It hasn't been for a while. It happened slower than anybody remembered, but than anybody realized. But yeah, look, I knew something was wrong when I got out of the Marine Corps, and every single person I knew that went to college was spouting off the very beginnings of this CRT. Do you remember the social justice warriors, guys? Yeah, that was your warning sign. That was not ever going to be confined to campus. It wasn't designed to be confined to campus. It was designed explicitly to not be confined to campus. So, can we go full R word and do Imperium of Man stuff? No, brother. We need the glorious Emperor, the true Emperor, to arise before we can do Imperium of Man stuff. We're such a retarded empire, brother. You're not wrong. Like, we suck at it. I don't know, man. It's not necessarily 100% true. We're doing this new empire thing, this control of information thing, and I want you to ask yourself how many countries are currently dancing to our tune. It's not as many as it used to be, that's for sure. But I'll tell you that it's not none. Alright, guys. I think that's probably the end of my evening. I appreciate the heck out of all y'all for showing up. And before I go, I've just got one thing to say to all of you, which is get off my lawn.